Hey, John Felt here. Welcome to the Blue Water Outlook Weekly Weather Briefing for the 10th of December. I think the overall theme of this briefing is going to be above normal temperatures, especially over some areas that are typically pretty harsh this time of year. Let's get started in today's briefing. Well, I think what I'm going to try to do is maybe if I see some interesting plots, start up my briefing with them. And one of them was, if you didn't notice it, I put this out last week on November snowfall rankings. Take a look at the upper Midwest here, especially around Minneapolis. That was a record low amount of snow for the month of November. So certainly that's unusual to start out the season. And if you're into winter sports in that area, it might not be the best thing. Also, take a look at the trend for the winter season, December through February, all the way from 1948 up to the current time. Almost the entire nation above normal temperatures, warming temperatures. And again, in this area up here, upper Midwest, region that's usually very brutal winters, not only reduced snow, but much milder temperatures. And you're going to see that in this briefing, even more so at the current time. And finally, I wanted to show you El Nino. We're around 2 degrees. I've talked about that pretty extensively. Each one of these here is a peak of El Nino. So I think that when I show you all the global warmth going on right now, I think it's a combination of a number of things which I've talked about, natural and man-made. But I wanted to sort of point out El Nino is definitely having a significant contribution, probably the most significant contribution to the current warming. So some action spots across the nation. It was pretty active last week. You might have heard about the tornadoes around Clarksville and other parts of Tennessee. Had wind reports as well. And also we had just really gusty winds over parts of the Midwest, and as well as some snow. As far as rain goes, well, the real hot spot was the Pacific Northwest around Seattle, Portland, and then snow at higher elevation, inches of rain. We had atmospheric rivers 3 or even a 4 on a scale of 5. So very active Pacific storms slamming into the Pacific Northwest. Then we have a strong cold front going through, and that's what produces severe storms. That's producing heavy rain. It'll be producing heavy rain on the East Coast today, Sunday. And here's the snow last week. North Dakota got some snow, some lighter snow in the Great Lakes, the Northeast U.S., Maine, and the higher elevations of the West. Now this shows the departure of temperatures last week. Most areas above normal, and even though North Dakota got some snow, temperatures averaged above normal. This is the warmest temperature of the week. Anything in yellow made it into the 60s. So Kansas, even parts of Nebraska, Missouri had some milder weather. If you want to know what's going on with rivers, you can see the Pacific Northwest and the Appalachians are some of the areas where rivers are running high. But we still have lots of low flow in the central U.S., and I don't see that changing a whole lot in the near term. Okay, so we do have a continued active Pacific Northwest. We have a front that's going to be affecting the northeast population centers today. Flood watches in effect. We dig into the forecast here. This is a graphic that Dr. Simon Lee produces. I'm glad to see that it's back available. North American weather regimes. This is the big picture. I like this a lot for the big picture. So when we have probabilities 60-70%, this is this is showing a Pacific trough. So that's this type of pattern here. A digging trough in the Pacific, and then a ridge in the central U.S. And that's why it looks like, and this goes all the way, let's say the odds are above 50% through the end of the month of December, if not longer, of this type of Pacific trough pattern, and that's mild. Will there be variation? Will there be occasional fronts? Sure. Here's one right here. You can see how the probabilities go down, and that indicates most likely a cold front passing through. So what we have right now is we have that strong cold front passing through, but behind it, by the middle of the week, high pressure builds. We also have this low pressure here, and that's going to bring some needed rain into parts of the far south. So when we look at temperatures for the next 15 days, I see a lot of above normal temperatures, especially again over Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, upper Midwest, Great Lakes, 10 to 15 degrees above what's normal for this time of year. I also see a lot of quiet weather. Now this will be a needed rain. It's very dry in this area, so that's a needed rain. This is the cold front passing through today, maybe early tomorrow. Other than that, it looks like a very quiet week. Likewise with snow, not a whole lot, but there will be some with that weather system over the northeast U.S. and a bit of lee side Great Lakes snow as well. Now finally, we take a look at week 2, and like I said, the mild weather over many areas looks like it's going to continue, and most areas quite dry. Now it does look like some rain in parts of Texas. So overall, I think the story as we move from now towards Christmas is going to be milder than normal temperatures over large parts of the nation, especially areas that are typically really cold, and also generally pretty benign weather. That's this week's briefing. Have a great week. Take care.